Hmm. Hey, what's up, King Brownie? Good afternoon. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you, Bob. Yes, late stream. Yes. I did not wake up early this morning, and it is the weekend. Just gonna chill and enjoy my Saturday afternoon by writing some code, doing some streaming. Oh shoot, I forgot to start all the things. I still blame daylight savings times, dude. Daylight savings times is a big motherfucker. I wish they'd just get rid of it or pick one, you know? All right, and then I need to start speaker bot. And then oh shit, I've got the wrong headphones on too. I've been listening to podcasts all day and picking up sticks in my yard. I got to mow for the first time in a little bit. Probably Monday. Okay, we must start the music. There we go. Get the chill vibe going. Bring chat back. There's chat. Hey, OS XS33 underscore 7. You couldn't pick a more readable a more readable username. Uh, hello, you last. Good to see you. Long time no see. Oh, whoops, I'm not on Twitch. Or I'm ignoring Twitch. Hey man, I just published my first app on Railway, but I need the API key as an environment variable. Is it okay to pass mine there so people can use? It's the Hugging Face API key. I guess I probably would. I mean, I guess it depends, right? It depends. I mean, you can either, I guess, have them provide their own API key. I guess it depends on how you want it to look to Hugging Face. Are you okay with it looking like an API key tied to your account is being used to do whatever your application does? Then that's probably fine. If you'd like other people to bring their own so that whatever actions are happening go against their API key, then I would and of course if there's any cost associated with it or whatnot, that's like a lot of these tools that are LLM based. They're bring your own key type of setup, which is probably the right call if there's cost associated with it. You know. Oh shit! I forgot my coffee. Hold on one sec. Okay, here we go. What are you building? I'm working on this little package that I want for myself mainly. That just allows me to very easily store configuration values encrypted. Um, right now, just in a JSON file, and then I'm building an accompanying CLI tool so that I can manage that configuration without necessarily having to go through my application code, almost like a little sidecar thing. So that's what I've been working on the last couple of days. I've been waiting on plaid.com to bill me so I can go back to my finance app, but they have still yet to bill me. But that's what we've been working on. And then just chilling, talking to you guys. I laugh my ass off, just gibberish. Call me OSX. Okay, OSX. There we go. Hey, Estefanos. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Oh, whoops. I just created a new Plaid account. That's not what I meant to do. Was gonna check to see if my invoice has shown up. Let's see, Plaid. 7. Hello, Dev. TF2BX. These usernames, man, they're a mouthful. You guys can't make it a little easier on me. Just pick a normal username. Oh, I'm just kidding. Yep, no invoice yet. All right. Well, guess we'll just have to keep waiting. In the meantime, keep writing some code. I have a latte today. This is like a homemade iced latte. That's my coffee for this afternoon. Not showing the code. Bummer. What do you mean? What do you mean, man? Did you make the espresso at home? I did make the espresso at home. I went through last year. I bought myself a relatively nice consumer espresso machine from Breville after going through some cheaper machines. I went through like 2 $100 machines, and so I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna buy a nicer machine. I mean, it's not like top of the line, but it was like a $700 machine, so it's kind of in the middle, probably middle tier of like consumer grade espresso machines. Let's see, terminal, and then we'll just, or this should be terminal, whoops, and this should be NeoVim. Toggle the focus mode. All right, here we go. Oof, $700 is mid tier. Yeah, dude, there's some espresso machines that run like $1,000, $2,000 that are considered like non-professional. You know, this is unbelievable. It's crazy how expensive that world gets. PowerShell, yuck, ass. Your ass, OXX. How about that? How about that? Yuck, your ass. Coming in here and trying to ruin my mood on a Saturday afternoon. Get the fuck out of here. I'm just kidding. What's up, Kevin? How's it going, Steven? Well, it's going good if people would stop shitting on my setup. Other than that, it's going great. I got the Breville Bambino, but the gasket broke. You gotta replace it. Well, that's what you get for being mean about my setup. Your gasket broke. Bambino runs $200. It's more work to get it right, but it can make some damn good coffee. Well, I don't want your stupid ass $200 espresso machine. Get on my level. Go take your cheap ass espresso machine and your Linux and get out of here, OSX. Is there any good C# certificates you would recommend if this was something you would do? I wouldn't make a certificate, but there is a certificate that Free Code Camp has that's a partnership between them and Microsoft, which I think it's a good. I've actually went through their course. They published it, I think, about a year ago or so. And it's a good partnership. I think it's a good introduction to the language if you're new to C#. I'll link it here in the chat. I hope that moment gets clipped into the short. I guess we'll see if my my Stream Shorts application finds it as a good a good option. Who was that asked? Nico Rayman. There you go. Oh, I guess I'll gotta send that to YouTube too. There you go. Hope you find that helpful. What project are you working on? It's been a while. I'm working on, this is a little project I spun up in the meantime of waiting to work more on Physical OS, which is my personal finance app. This is basically an application that does like encrypted and decrypted configuration in a JSON file. Grown adults arguing over their coffee machine. Yeah, I'm a grown up. I'm a 32-year-old dad with 2 kids and a wife. Dude, your stream shorts are fire. You made it into my timeline along with Primogen and TS Coding. Nice. Well, I'm not on either of those guys' level. Hopefully my shorts aren't crowding up your feed too much. All right. I think I decided last night. I think I have a pattern here that I want to follow for this application. Let's see. So we have this guy, which is good. So we just need to implement the commands. So let's go to the git command. Also, why is that thing complaining? Probably wants to make it static. And then it probably wants me to use a lambda here. I hate that warning. IDE 0053. I think I also have 2 Omni Sharps attached to my. Oh no, I don't. Huh. Wonder why that warning's showing up twice. All right, I'm gonna disable that. IDE 0053 or something like that. IDE 53 LSP restart Omni Sharp. Okay, so we have this, we have that, we have this, we have this, we have that, we have this and that, this and that. Okay, so I think the last thing I was working on was just the git command. So the git command really doesn't need to care about any of this shit. Each command can be pretty much fairly isolated. So let's get rid of this greeter because the greeter's dumb. It really doesn't do anything. And then let's do that, and instead of injecting a greeter, we're going to inject an iSecureConfig instance. And then we're going to store a reference to that in a field. Secure config, like that. And then we're just going to use that here to say, so I guess this is where we need to figure out how to hold our options, because what we need to do here is we need to say var key equals result.get required value, and we need to pass in the option. So I actually think what we could do is we could hold on to a private. Actually, I don't know where we should do this. Somehow I need to have a reference to the option that gets passed in here. Or argument, I guess. So I need to have like a key arg equals new argument of type string. And this is a, this would be key. And then key arg. Like that. This will work. Oh, and I also need to re-put that back there. Private const string command name equals get. There you go. We need a using for that. And then it's going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be return underscore secure config dot get. And we're going to pass in the key value that we got out. And the cancellation token needs to be forwarded on. Let's see what it is complaining about. Type arguments for method cannot be inferred. The string. Oh, I guess it does. I guess we don't need to do that. We need to we don't want to return it. We want to actually print it. So do var value, and then we'll do console dot writeLine value. I wonder why that's showing up as red. Okay. So then theoretically, if we run this from the command line, it should tell us that we didn't provide an argument. What? The type name, oh, cannot be found. Okay, yeah. They're right. That's right. So we need to remove this. And the other thing we need to do is we do not have the secure config. Add secure config. This comes from my library code. Configuration. It's a public interface. It exists here. Add secure config. iService collection. So why doesn't that exist? Because this is a services collection, right? Yeah. So this should be here. Maybe we just need to bring in a using this. Remove that. There we go. Now it's here. Okay, and then I'm going to go up top here. And I'm going to uncomment this guy for a second. Use var, that's fine. No, we don't want to do that, but we do want to bring that in. Bring this in. This needs to be app something secure context. No, what did I call it? Oh, it's right there. Sorry. I couldn't make up my mind last night about how I wanted to do any of this, so there was a lot of trial and error. That should allow me to go back up here and say, you can make that static, that's fine. You guys need to go up to the top now because we have other code that's up there. This guy's complaining because it wants the configure passed in. Then we can't make this static because we're capturing something in the closure. Now everybody should be happy. Let's go back here and try to build. So what I want this to do is he says key is required but was not provided. So what I want that to happen is instead of that happening, I want the parser to validate it. So we need to figure out a way in our command factory, which is named wrong. We need to figure out a way how to get the argument here as well as up here, right? So my first thought is that we just hold a reference to it. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but my first thought is just to do private read-only argument of string and call this our key arg, like that, and then just do new key. And then when we create the command, we'll pass in the arg. Which I don't know why you're why is that not okay? Oh, because this. And then down here, instead of newing one up, we reference this one, which I think means that whenever we call this from the command line, now it should tell us that we didn't provide the argument. Yeah, see, required argument missing for command get, and the required argument is key. So now if we pass in a key like chat has shitty espresso machines, because that makes sense for a configuration key. Now what I hope is it returns me nothing. It did not. It returned some weird state machine or something. Did I not await it? Yeah, I didn't await it. That's what I get for trying to dog on chat. Yeah, so empty string, because nothing's there. But if there was something there, it should return that. So now let's implement the set command. I honestly don't know if I even need... yeah, I guess the argument does need to be here. Hey, what's up, KNCPT? I think you're the first person on Twitch all day. Good afternoon, Delusional Dead. Good, Heist. What happened to 4:30 a.m. streams? I do miss a lot of streams now, unfortunately. Don't feel pushed, though. Fuck me. You're more important. So streams are still going to happen at 4:15. The last week has just been weird. We had some bad weather. My family and I were sleeping in our basement to avoid the bad weather. So then getting up early in the morning to stream wasn't really possible. So we were streaming like later in the mornings or in the afternoon. And then today I just was a lazy piece of shit and decided not to get up early. So, but 4:15 is still going to be kind of the normal stream time, I think. OSX, do you use a split keyboard? Would you use one? Oh, so now you're going to start on my keyboard. So first you shit on my shell of choice. Then you shit on my espresso machine. Now you're trying to shove your keyboard on me. Get off me. I'm just kidding. I would use a split keyboard. We've actually talked about that on stream before. That a split keyboard would be cool. Hey, good to see you, Josh. Bookkeeping all day for me. Yeah, but at least you're making money, right? So I mean, even if it is boring work, but it means you're doing something right. You have a successful business and you're making money. Gun Eyes. Oh, that kind of bad weather? Yeah, like tornado, like possible tornado weather. We're entering that season of the year where basically from here till the end of the summer, it'll probably be like once or twice a month. We'll have the potential for tornadoes. Kevin, that's really nice what you said about my shorts, that they're good and rational. The thing is, I'm just trying to make content from the perspective of like a normal 32-year-old dad who's like in middle America trying to navigate how the hell do I get from here to a place of financial stability and retirement over the next 20 years, I'm just trying to figure it out and trying to make sense of it all while raising a family and keeping a job and all that. I Love Lamp. Hey, it's been a long time, I Love Lamp. Been 10 years since I've last went on one of your streams. Well, good to see you again. Josh Galt, you inspired me to do daily shorts as well. It is smart. Yeah, I started doing it. I really wasn't able to keep up with it until I built that tool that helps kind of chop up the stream into smaller clips. And basically now what I do is I just act as like the editorial review. So I just go through of like the tool might generate like 10 clips and then I just go through and like, that one's shitty. I like this one. I said something smart here, or I said something other people might be able to relate to. Um, Dev, using a vertical monitor? No, I'm not using a vertical monitor. I just I restrict myself. If you go on Twitch, you can see that like half my screen or like a little less than maybe like 40% of my monitor is the YouTube vertical where I write code, and then the other 60% of my stream is the chat, which is not ideal, to be honest. Like, I'm not very productive in this uh, developer setup thing. I'm far more productive off stream when I have all my monitors available. But the vertical streaming on YouTube has been helpful to grow my YouTube channel, so I've just kind of stuck with it over the last year or so. That's the only way that I've really been able to pick up subscribers and views is through vertical streaming. I'm always super impressed by people who can build an audience in the horizontal format, because whenever I stream horizontally, what that means is like my streams aren't good enough on their own merit, that I need the assistance of the algorithm to make all this possible. But what are you gonna do? X1 XUL. Hey man, good to see you again. And you didn't super chat this time. You just gave a regular chat. I respect this. I hope you all have a blessed day. It's truly great to see everyone doing well. I appreciate you all. Remember, even on the difficult days, keep pushing forward. You will get through it. You are never alone, and you are valued more than you may realize. That's a very kind and a very blessed message that you shared. So thank you very much, man. Appreciate the positivity. Dota, discovery on Twitch is terrible. Yeah, I brought that up before. I don't know how people do it. Like, I'm so impressed by creators and gamers, people who can build a audience over there. It's super impressive. I don't know if they have like if there's a secret to it, or maybe there's some way that you're supposed to like collab and stuff, but seems incredibly difficult, and you have to be very persistent and very enthusiastic about what you're doing. Let's see, King Brownie. I thought the vertical stream was just to make shorts easier. It does make shorts a lot easier, King Brownie. That's for sure. And I think that was part of the impetus. I think I ended up on, if I recall correctly, the timeline of events was I started streaming horizontally on Twitch. Then I went to streaming on YouTube. Then I started streaming to YouTube and TikTok. And that's where the vertical format came in. Then when I stopped streaming to TikTok, I just stayed streaming vertically to YouTube because it was much easier to produce shorts content from it, right? Because it's already in the vertical format. I don't have to do a bunch of post editing stuff. But it's also been crazy helpful for growing a channel, for like getting subs. And I'm not sure if I would be able to grow my channel at all if I went to a horizontal stream. KCP, how did you get a C compiler for NeoVim on Windows? I use NeoVim on Linux, but recently moved to Windows because of uni. Nice. Yep. Okay, cool. As far as like get a C compiler, there's several different C compilers you can install for Windows. One comes along with the Visual Studio tool chain. You can also get GCC, I think. I think Zig will also work if you want to use Zig, I think is also a potential option. I don't know which exactly one I have on this machine, but there's a few different ones. Raids might be one key if I had to guess. Oh, raids, yeah, that makes sense, Dota. I don't know how you drive YouTube traffic to Twitch either. Yeah, I have no idea. I do content creation primarily just as like a pastime, rather than actually trying to make it into like a actual job. But yeah, for those people who like that's what they want to be when they grow up is like I want to be a Twitch streamer, I want to be a YouTuber. My youngest son wants to be a YouTuber when he grows up. I really don't know what the strategy is or what the playbook is. King Brownie weird. I prefer horizontal, but it's nice seeing the shorts be identical to the stream. Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. I appreciate all the feedback. Thank you very much. Deb, you should do a horizontal stream once in a while. Yeah, I think it would be fun to play games every once in a while on stream. I think that would be fun. Zig mentioned. Zig Zig has been mentioned. Let's see. GCC only with MGW. Oh, okay. Bob, Noel, Zig. I'll try with Visual Studio. Yeah, the Visual Studio build tools I think come with a C compiler. But I swore there was a way you could get GCC with what's that thing called? MSY SG. I forget what it's called. Let's see, Windows C compiler. Yeah, the best C compilers for Windows include MNG, this one, MNGW-W64. I think that's the one I have installed, actually. Let's see. Let's see. I guess I don't have GC. I have Clang. I probably have to go look at my NeoVim configs to know what the hell I'm using. Should I be worried that my memory is so bad I don't remember anything that I've done? I just do it, and then my brain's like, well, that's not important anymore. Get rid of it. I don't know. I read books and forget I read any of them a year or two later. Maybe it's a more common thing than what I realize. What was the other thing? GCC, playing. I don't have any of these referenced. Why? I don't know. I don't know what compiler I'm using. Let's see. NeoVim, C compiler, Windows. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I could check my path, huh? Quit all. There you go. So I do have GCC on my path. Do I have Clang? No. So it must be GCC that I'm using. Is there a where command in PowerShell? Let's see, how to find PowerShell, how to find where executable located in git command. Git. This is what Gemini is telling me to do. Git command gcc.exe.path. There you go. So that must be what I'm relying on. I read a book in book club on memory. I have M in GW. Might have to get msys2 git command. There we go. So other people knew how to do it. I just didn't know how to do it. All right. Well, back to the code. Yeah, back to the code. All right, now this is going to be our set command. So let's just, we need the key, but we also need a value, which will be a string. This will be our value arg equals new value. And let's see, we're upset because we don't have all the right usings.
Did we just become best friends?
Hey, Satayam, thanks for the sub, man. You're the first sub in like 3 days on stream, I think. My channel has been slowly getting quieter and quieter over the last couple months, which is totally fine. You know, things ebb and flow, I guess. But thank you very much for subbing. Appreciate you. And then we'll do value. Value. So instead of getting, we'll be setting. And I guess I should probably let's see. I guess I should probably do some echo it back, maybe. Maybe that would be the best thing. Just echo it back to people. So say something like console.writeLine successfully set value of something. That. And then we need to rename this to the set command factory. And then we have to register it as part of our DI container. And let's see if this works. Try to set something and get something. So we'll do .NET run. Let's set key value like this. Unrecognized command or argument value. Oh, because I didn't add it to the command. Duh. So we need value arg like that. Successfully set value of key. Now if we turn around and we try to get it, get key, hopefully we'll get value back. Cool. Now the thing is, we're always dealing with JSON. That's just how my library works, is we're always storing JSON values. So like, or I guess we're storing string values, and complex types we just serialize with, we just use JSON as the serialization format. And so there could be times when I want to set something that's more complex, right? So what does that look like when we read it back out? So if we do something like set, let's say like API options, and then the value is going to be some type of object, right? So let's do something like this. If I could learn how to type. So let's say API key, I actually don't know how to do. How do I do this in? I guess do single quotes, and then API key. We can do value like that. Okay, and then if I try to get that back out, hopefully that's well formed, I guess. Yeah, I think it would be nice to be able to pretty print it, though, you know? So let's go back to the get command. And let's add an option that says private read-only option. This will be a bool. A bool. This will be pretty option equals new option. I actually, not option. I actually don't know how to do that. So we'll do, let's see, system.command line. How do I create an option? Hey, what's up, Debug Master? Have you tried Nutshell? It's awesome if you deal with a lot of structured data. Looks like it works on Windows too. Nutshell. New shell. New shell. What is that? Let's see, new shell. A new type of shell. New works on Linux, Mac OS, BSD, and Windows. Learn it once, then use it everywhere. New pipelines use structured data. You can safely select, filter, sort the same way every time. Stop parsing strings and start solving. Huh, that's cool. Although I don't really know if I want to learn a new shell because I barely know the one I use. The operating system, though, I'm most interested in learning is Nix. The idea of having a single configuration file that I can use to replicate a system again and again and again really speaks to me. I don't know if there's something like that for other Linux distributions, but that promise really speaks to me. I like the idea of being able to like wipe a machine, then basically start from nothing and have everything I want by just having everything in one file. I think that's kind of cool. Let's see. So this will be dash that or dash P. And then we can do var, let's do should print pretty equals result dot get value, which will be pretty option. And then I think what we'll do is we'll say if should print pretty, then we'll do, let's see, private static read-only JSON serializer options equals new right indented. True. Oh. JSON options. Okay, And then we can come down here and say, okay, if it is, then we can do value equals JSON options dot, oops, JSON serializer dot serialize, pass the value, pass the options. That. Now, why are you complaining? Using system serializer, which has required reference code, can this is because I'm publishing as AOT, which means, what does this mean? It means that I basically need to so basically instead of using that, I have to do app CLI or CLI JSON context.default, I think, dot string. And then I guess I go here and I can add a JSON source generation options right indented equals true, I think. Delete this guy. Private member can be removed. Yeah, I did remove it. LSP info. I have multiple Omni Sharps attached now. Let's see. LSP stop Omni Sharp. LSP info. LSP start Omni Sharp. Is this Java? No, Red Spartan, this is C Sharp. But a lot of people have told me that C Sharp and Java look a lot alike. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone thought it was Java. But when are you making another coffee time video? I can make another coffee time video whenever you guys would like. I have lots to say. I just haven't made one in a while. But yeah, I can definitely go back to making some. If you enjoyed those. Okay, let's try this now. So let's get it and let's dash P. Okay, so that basically means that I'm doing something wrong with when I'm setting it, right? Let's see. Here, let's use my new. I installed a new coding agent. Let's use them. Let's use Pi. Yeah, they are interesting to watch as I make my own coffee. Yeah, for sure. I would love to make coffee and opine. I'm tempted to buy one of those NVIDIA boxes, specifically for AI development, except they cost $3K. Yeah, is that the DGX Spark? We were looking at one of those. Yeah, they're like $4,000 or something like that. I think if you want your own, like inference, you're gonna have to pay. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay for it. That's where I'm at. But maybe it's worth it if you want to be like you don't want to be you don't want to be constrained by what the inference that the providers are going to give you. But let's see, in C#, how should I let's see, in C#, if a user gives me a string that could or could not be JSON, how should I store this to disk so that later I can print it in JSON? If you're using the older Newtonsoft.json library, the logic is similar. No, that's not what I want. All right, so let's store, when we store it, what should we do? Try to parse it to see if it's a valid JSON. If successful, minify it for storage. Not valid JSON, keep the original. Okay, I can do that. Then, when we're getting it, JSON document.parse, serialize it, otherwise return stored content. Yes, we can do this. Let me pull this out into a separate window so I can reference it. All right, so first let's go back to our store command, or our set command. And we need to do this differently. So instead of just getting it, if we have the value, then what we should do is before we set it, we should say try like this, and let's catch a JSON exception. We don't want to throw. So we'll say, okay, I think I'm just going to reassign. So we'll say value equals JSON document dot parse. I guess we can do this asynchronously. Nope, that's for a stream. We're not using a stream. Cannot implicitly convert from type system text.json document to a string. Oh. Using
Did we just become best
JSON.
friends?
JNear81, thanks for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Sarvam, good to see you. Kajani, good to see you. I could sell AI to my parents for $30. I bet you could. I guess you could start your own little inference business. I'm waiting this bubble to pop just that running models locally becomes more affordable. That's fair. That's fair. I don't know, man. I do think it would be nice to have a have the ability not to be limited by what the providers will give you, right? Doesn't mean you have to always use your own rig to generate what was I going to say? Doesn't mean you have to always use that rig to generate the tokens, but it would be nice to have. But for $4,000, it's hard to justify nice to have, so I get that too. Let's see. We want what's this type? JSON element. So JSON element. Type of JSON element. Okay. And then catch, we do nothing. And then we store it. Yeah, I think that looks good. And then we'll go back over here to the get command now. And so then when we pull the value out, let's do stored value. Then we need to do what? Parse it. So we'll do try catch again, JSON exception. And then we'll say using var JSON equals JSON document dot parse stored value. Why is it complaining? Possible null reference. Is that nullable? Why is that nullable? I don't think that should be nullable. Oh, yeah, okay. It can be nullable. It can be nullable. Okay, that's fair. So then I guess if it is nullable, or if it does return null, then we want to do something different. Whoops, where am I? I'm back here. So if the stored value is null, if stored value is null, we just return, I guess. I don't know why that would ever be the case, but I guess it could happen at some point. I guess, I don't know. And then let's actually just read this to value. So if that doesn't get caught, then we can do value.
Did we just become best friends?
Kartik Forever, thank you very much for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate that. I'm heading to bed. Got with in the morning. Happy coding. See King Brownie, thanks for hanging out. Is the same as equals? Not really. Is actually actually a little bit better way to check for null, because people can technically override the equal operator in C#. So it's a little safer if you can to just use is when it's available to you. Sometimes you can't use it. Redirect. It is interesting. It is very interesting. You can only use the is operator though with like types or constant values. But it's a little bit safer because you can't other developers can't overload it. So I prefer to use it when I can. I mean, not that most people do override the equal operator though. So I mean, it's kind of like I'm creating a problem that doesn't really, or I'm justifying my choice with a problem that doesn't really exist. But I also like the way it reads. I think it reads a little nicer. Let's see, JSON.read element, and then we'll pass in our context. And then if it doesn't work, we won't do anything. We'll just print what we got. So I guess the question is, should we pretty print it? I don't know. I guess the only difference here is, the only difference with the pretty printing is if it's JSON, then we print it as with indentation, right? That's the whole point of it. So I guess here it would be this. Is there an overload that lets me specify type? I think there's an overload that lets me specify type info and options. New JSON serializer options. Cannot convert from, let's see, let's ask pi again. In C# when using the JSON serializer, can I specify the JSON type info along with specific JSON serializer options? I believe there is an overload for this. What are we drinking? We are drinking a vanilla latte. Actually, it's kind of a weird concoction. It's like 100 milliliters of a coffee flavored protein shake, 100 milliliters of a Starbucks iced vanilla latte drink that my wife got from school. It was pair appreciation this week, so she got some gifts and stuff, but she can't have caffeine. So 100 milliliters of the protein shake, 100 milliliters of that Starbucks drink, 100 milliliters of Fairlife milk, and then a shot of espresso. A little chemistry experiment. It was good. It's super tasty, super good. Yeah, it was good. Let's see. If you are manually getting JSON type info via the default resolver, get the type info from the options directly. Let's see. Pass the options to the JSON context. Use the type info from that context. Oh, interesting. So it's saying that I can do this. It's saying I can do, see if it's right. Var options equals new JSON serializer options, like this. Right indented equals true. And then it says that I can do var context equals new CLI JSON context, and I can pass it the options. And then CTX context dot, what did I call it? Context. Context dot JSON element, like this. Okay. So then that's cool. That works. Otherwise, I'm not a big fan of if else's, but otherwise we'll just do the CLI.default.json element like this, and then we'll go back to this guy And whoops. Huh. That's weird. Remove that. Okay, that's the set command, that's the get command. So if it's a JSON string, we will just write it without any nice printing. Otherwise, we'll write it with nice printing. I don't know if this is the right thing to do here. Maybe we do this. If value is null, then we'll actually just do this. How about that? We'll do, if you give me nothing back, I'm just going to do an empty string. That way we always print something. All right, so now let's try. Looky there. And then if we don't specify the pretty print, that's what I'm looking for. And then we can update it. We can set it. So we can say set API options. And we could update it and say, okay, we're going to give it a key value now. And then if we do get, cool. Now the reason why this is cool is because the actual config file itself is actually encrypted. So if we look at, not agents, if we look here in source, secure CLI, bin, debug, net 10. Whoops. Did not mean to open that. I just meant to cat it. So we have test, we have key, and we have our API options, but you can't see it because it's encrypted. I like it. This is working. This is working. And now let's add a delete command. Steven, I too have a CLI side project. What we working on? Nice. Yeah, CLIs are fun to build. So this is basically, I built a library that allows you to programmatically store and read configuration in your .NET application, and that configuration data is encrypted when it's wherever it's stored. So you can store it in a JSON file, you can store it in a SQLite database or whatever, wherever you want to store it. But it hooks into the existing .NET configuration system, so it supports like iOptions and iOptions snapshot and iOptions monitor, all that good stuff. The only problem is that you can't interact with that file like you would a normal app settings file, because the values are all encrypted, right? You can't just go in there and change the values. So I need some sort of tool, or I want to have some sort of tool that I can just bring down and use to talk to, or to change or read or update that configuration file, but do it out of band. So not in my not as part of my application code, but do it, administratively with this CLI tool. So that's what I'm building right now. I'm also enjoying my nice peaceful Saturday afternoon. But good to see you, man. Redectic. Yay, it works, right? Yeah, it works. It's always a good feeling when something works. No matter how many times you successfully build something, it never gets old when it works. Alright, and then this will be the delete command, factory, wire these up. Well, actually, I just realized I don't actually need this because this actually should have a namespace. Need to fix that in another file too. Yeah, this should have a namespace, which should make this one useless. I'm working on my C# Godot game. Very cool. I'm all about it. Steven, what do you think of the idea that we're programmed the same way we program things? I think that idea is stupid. I think there is so much that science still doesn't quite understand about the way a human, particularly the way our brains work, that for anybody to say they have a good handle on it is kind of preposterous. I do think, however, we know enough to know that that's not how the brains work. Trying to say human brains are analogous to machines is just not. I know that's what technophiles want to say. Technophiles want that to be the case, right? They want that to be the truth, but I don't think that is the case. Even people who are like, well, neural nets simulate the human brain. It's like, neurons are just one part, like that's just one aspect of the human brain, just like one structure that makes up the human brain. So just the fact that you have a neural net does not mean you've recreated the human brain or approximated how the human brain works. But when you make a game, you can make the laws of the world and how it works, even if they don't make sense to us. It makes sense to those in the game. I'm not sure what you're getting at. I'm not sure what you're getting at. Are you getting at like the simulation theory? Joke's on you. I just asked Gemini to build a perfect replica of the human brain. I'm an idiot. What do I know? I haven't gone that far. Just simple platform generating stuff. Very cool. Yeah, I have. So Godot. I think did you say Godot or Godot? I'm not sure which one is the right one. But I have that on my list of things to check out on stream, and so far we have not gotten to it yet. But I would like to get to it at some point. This does not return anything. Oh, it turns a bool. So we could say results or is deleted, and then we can do just a little if. We can say if is deleted console dot write line successfully removed value for key. Otherwise, we'll say something like unable to remove value for key. Yeah, and then we got to go to our program. Oh man, those path names are just too long for me to use that. And now we'll go up here and we'll say I command delete like this. That looks good. And then we can do .NET. Let's delete that one. And then if we do get, it should hopefully return nothing. Yeah, it returns nothing. Instead of returning nothing, let's actually, instead of returning that, let's do let's do if value is null. Let's do return, and we'll just let you know, say console.writeLine unable to retrieve value for key. I think that's a little better experience. I also think we should have exit codes. I don't think actually right now I'm returning an exit code. So let's do that. So for example, if we run this command right here, and we do $ last exit code, it says 0. But I think, honestly, I think we should probably have non-zero exit codes for things. Like this one should probably be a non-zero exit code. This should be something like exit codes dot not found or something, key not found. So let's try that. So if I did 1 here, and I change this to return an int, I think the set action will still work. And then we can jump down here and say, okay, if we get all the way down here, then we'll just return 0. And then if we rerun this, the last exit code is still 0. I wonder if it's because the handler is not so this returns an
Did
int.
we just become best friends?
Justin Mart, thank you very much for the follow on Twitch. Let's see, how do we propagate up? Let's ask Pi. In C#, I have a background, or I'm actually using, I have a hosted service that starts and performs a command line action. In C#, I have a hosted service that starts and performs a command line action and returns the exit code. How do I propagate that up to the exit code returned to the terminal when the host finishes running? You can see exactly what I am doing here. Where am I? This is program CS. So let's copy path. Whoops. Secure CLI. Let's go back to here, paste that in there. Simulation theory isn't stupid, in my opinion. It is merely an unverifiable hypothesis that holds potential but cannot be proven. Why do we have to put value in unverifiable hypotheses, though? In the coming years, do you think AI agents will replace EDR solutions like CrowdStrike and Sentinel-1? Well, I've never used CrowdStrike. I've never used Sentinel-1. I don't even know what EDR stands for, so I can't answer your question very well. I think AI agents are probably going to get shoved anywhere people can shove them. So If someone can build a company, if somebody can make money by claiming they have an AI agent that can replace CrowdStrike, then they, it'll probably come to pass. You know what I mean? I intend to start learning coding in the summer at an average of 3 hours a day. How will I be when the season ends? I think you'll be very surprised with how much progress you made. 3 hours a day for 90 days. What is that? 270 hours? That's a good chunk of time. I think you'll be very competent. Um, yeah. I don't think most people can stick to that plan. I don't think most people have the discipline to do it every day for 3 hours. But if you can, if you do find that you're one of those few, then yeah, you'll be pretty competent. Invoke async returns an int. Let's see. To propagate the X code from my hosted service, however, there is a more correct way to do this in modern.NET for CLI tools. Instead of using iHosted service for the primary logic, use run console async and inject the iHost application lifetime to signal completion, or simply resolve your logic from the built host and run it. Yeah, I know, but it doesn't look as pretty if you do it that way. So you're saying I should do run console async, and then you're saying I should set the environment exit code here, and then request the stop application. Okay, we can do that. That's not very different than what I have. So you're saying I should... I don't want to use run console async though, because I think run console async... Or maybe I do want it. Let's see. Run console async. That doesn't even exist on this type. There we go. And then you're saying I should get the exit code here. And then you're saying I should do environment.exit code and set that to this. Oh, gotta wait it. Make the method async, and then you're saying I should also request from the background to stop. Thank you very much. Let's see, lifetime dot stop application. Then we'll need to inject this. So let's do I posted lifetime, no. Post life, there you go. Lifetime. And then we'll do private read only, I host lifetime. Lifetime. And then we'll set that here. And what are you complaining about? Lifetime does not exist in the Okay, so that doesn't have a stop application. I don't think this is gonna work the way I think it should. Yeah, see, it's not actually ever gonna stop. Okay, this is so. Am I asking for the wrong thing? Okay, in this case, lifetime stop application. Now let's try. There we go. Okay, that works. Perfect. That's what I'm looking for. And then let's check the exit code. Did the exit code get Yeah, there we go. That's exactly what I want. So now let's centralize our exit codes. So let's do exit codes.cs, and I'm just going to make this a static class. Namespace. So we'll do internal static class exit codes, and then we'll do public const int key not found 0, public const int success equals 0, and this will be 1. And we'll just go to each of our commands and make sure that we're returning. So get command gonna return exit codes not key not found. Then we'll do exit codes.success. Now let's go to the other method. So let's go to the set command. And we just need to make sure that we return exit codes.success here. And then we just need to update the signature. What else? We have iCommand factory. Let's see, delete command. So I guess we probably want to say if it is deleted, we return exit codes.success. If it's not deleted, what would be the reason it's not deleted? I don't know. So let's go back to our library code and see. Storage provider, this is an interface. I guess we allow the implementer to decide how it gets deleted. I guess I'll just do a separate exit code because I don't really know. So we'll just do key not removed. Sound good? And we'll set that to 2. We'll do return exit codes.success. Return exit codes dot key not removed. Well, that didn't rename the. Oh yeah, it did. Cool. So now we have all our basics. We have set, get, delete, and then we should also add some descriptions for each of these. So let's go through and add some descriptions. So let's do private const string command description equals retrieves the value for the given key. And then I think this also probably needs its own description. But the command description can go here now. And all this stuff, what's really nice about system.command line is all this stuff just comes together to build a nice help menu that you just get for nothing. You don't even have to build it. It just does it for you, which is awesome. So now you get a little description there. See you, Doug Master. Debug Master, have a good day. I'll try to make some more coffee time videos for you. When I make another cup of coffee today, I'll come up with some strong opinion that I have, and I don't really have to work very hard to come up with a lot. Gun Highs, delted or not awesome stream. What are you talking about, Gun Highs? Johnny, big technical interview for a senior position in a few days. Any tips? Johnny, my only tips for interviews is be yourself. Don't try to portray yourself as more than you are. Go into the interview and demonstrate who you are, what it's like to work with you, how you like to work, what you know. Don't be afraid to admit what you don't know. And also, Johnny, go in fully prepared that it's a two-way conversation. So you should have your own set of questions and your own agenda as far as the types of technologies you want to work with, the types of people you want to work with, and you should be trying to ask questions that suss out if these people are also compatible with what you want out of your team, your work experience, the company that employs you. So I think too many times people go into interviews and they look at it as like, well, I'm here for them to have at me, but you should be equally there to also engage and have a conversation about the things that are important to you. So that would be my advice. Don't try to oversell yourself. Show up, be yourself. Don't be afraid to say, well, I don't know, or I've never done that, or I don't have experience with that. Speak to what you do know, and be prepared to make sure that you get answers to your questions. Those would be my advice. What if I don't want them to know who I am? That's tough, man. That's a tough way to go into interview. Stephen, if no one has told you today, I'm proud of you. Well, no one has told me that today, so that is very kind of you. But my wife sometimes tells me that she's proud of me, which is nice to hear. Debug dope. I shall watch each one. Cool. I would love to accompany you during your coffee making time. Ultraphysics. 3 hours is nothing. I study an average of 6 to 10 hours a day. What the fuck are you studying for 6 to 10 hours a day, Ultraphysics? That's crazy, man. that's crazy. Johnny, thank you. I aced the home assignment. Hopefully it'll help. Oh, for sure. Yeah. You could talk about what you did to ace the home assignment. That'd probably be helpful. But yeah, I just think so much of interview anxiety is this anxiety that you need to perform, that you need to impress, that you need to. And I think instead, what you should go into the interview thinking of that this is a conversation, and it's a conversation to figure out if they're compatible with me and I'm compatible with them, right? Now, granted, I understand the context of that conversation is important as well. Like, if you're 3 months behind on rent and you really need a job, I understand. Like, maybe then you're going to put on a little bit more and you're going to do whatever you need to do to try to get this paycheck. But if you're lucky enough to be in that position where you're interviewing and you're not desperate, excuse me, then yeah, look at it more like a conversation. Command bar. Steven, today I'm making the kernel of Popcorn OS. Interesting. I wonder if Popcorn OS will ever actually be a thing, though. I don't know. I'm very suspicious when people claim they're doing big, huge things like that, like building the kernel of an operating system, because it sounds like a very hard thing to do, and there's currently only like 4 or 5 actually used operating systems in the world. So I don't know. I'll be interested to see if Popcorn OS ever actually becomes a thing. Maybe that will give you more inspiration to follow through and build it. Let's see, removes, deletes the value for the given key. I mean, it will be like a small OS like Linux. Hey man, if you actually build it and you publish it and you make it available and you actually create the thing, more power to you. It just sounds like a very hard. It sounds like a very hard thing for one person to pull off. I'm not a big fan of saying you're going to do something and not doing it, or starting something and not finishing it. You know, and I feel like developers and programmers are notoriously bad at doing that, and I think it's just a very bad habit to get in. You know, like you're kind of like, you know, you lie to yourself. You're gonna do this thing, and then you never actually do the thing. I feel personally attacked. Good to see you, Thobison. Did I miss you earlier in chat? I'm sorry if I did. I haven't been paying very good attention to chat today. I've been too selfishly focused on trying to. Did I miss you earlier in chat? I'm sorry if I did. Good to see you. Thanks again, as always, for being a member. Appreciate you, man. No worries. Yeah, nah, it's good to see you. Personally attacked. I mean, it is. I am challenging a little bit of the status quo. I think it's a bad habit. I think it's a bad habit. If you're gonna start something, I mean, if you start a project just purely for research or exploration, that's one thing. But like, if you say you're actually gonna build something, like build it, publish it, share it with the world, right? Like go all the way. All right, and then we need to figure out how we add descriptions to options. Recursive. Oh, that's interesting. Show verbose output. So we can actually do. I kind of wonder if I shouldn't move like this key argument. It shows up in every single command. I'm kind of wondering if I shouldn't move that to a central place. I don't know where I would move it to. It needs to be in a central place, but it needs to be referenceable by all the command factories. I guess we could have an argument factory and inject that. Maybe that makes sense because it does show up everywhere. But I can add a description like this. Description equals the key whose value you want to remove. Is this proper grammar? The key whose value you want to remove. The key whose value you want to remove. Is that proper grammar? When to use whose or whose. Use whose as a contraction for who is or who has. Use whose as possessive. Yeah, so I'm using it possessively there. See, because this is... Oh, well, I guess the description actually does need to be different. So maybe I can't centralize these. So delete command, git command. The key whose value you want to retrieve. And then I think the option also has a description property. Let's see, description equals the indicates whether the value if JSON should be pre-printed or not. Okay, and then set command also has a key. The key whose value you want to set. We'll do this should be the value that you want to set for the key. Yeah. So then that will build us a nice little help menu like so. And then if we pass help to each of the commands, we'll also get information about the arguments and the options. So if we do something like this, where we do get -- help, now it'll give us that information, which is pretty nice. I think this is like really, what I want to say. I think this is one of the super nice things about system.command line. And one of the compelling reasons to use it is it gives you a lot of these ergonomics, kind of the dev experience that you'd want from a command line without really you having to do much. Granted, in the age of AI, generating a piece of help text like this is probably much easier than what it used to be, but the fact that it's just programmatic based on how you compose your commands together is really, really nice. So we have delete command, get command, set command. We have this all wired up, which is nice. Let's go ahead and move. I'm going to create a namespace for JSON. And I'm going to move some of this stuff here. Oops. I'm going to extract this. Extract type, move type, and then I'm gonna move you to JSON.
Did we just become best friends?
Waris Dev. I don't know if I said your username correctly, but thank you very much. Appreciate you. I'm also gonna move this one to commands. And then that actually gets rid of the need for for one of these usings, I think. And then in the program, we also have options, which should live in a separate file. So let's do config. And let's move that type into a separate file. Let's do you get to go. What did I just do? I think I don't know what I just did. Somehow I navigated down the tree structure in tree sitter. I don't know how I did that. Or sorry, in NeoVim. NeoTree, sorry, NeoTree. NeoTree, keyboard shortcuts. How do I navigate? Go up a dir. Shift U. No. Those are Emacs commands. What am I looking at here? I just want to go back to my current working directory. Neo-tree, how to navigate directories. Somehow I accidentally navigated it. Use standard Vim motions, J and K. No. Enter and expand. Backspace. Ah, nice. Well, that's going to come in handy. I didn't realize you could just do, and then set root to current. Okay, so then you do period, that goes to current. I like that. How do you navigate down the tree then? Go up one level. Syncing. Go to parent. Set root. Neo tree. Navigate down a directory.
Did we just become best friends?
Waris, thanks for subscribing on YouTube. So, are you the same person who subbed on Twitch too? Nice. Appreciate you. Oh. So, you? No? You? Huh. I recently replaced nerd tree with neo tree and I missed the KJ shortcuts. Jump inside. I couldn't find similar ones. Justin, Mark, Steven, you finally made me convert to using Twitch because of the different ratio on YouTube. Oh, nice. Well, thanks for going over to Twitch. I appreciate you. Hover the dir and dot. Okay, I'm hovering the dir. Bro, this is great. I did not know you could do that in NeoTree. This is awesome. I've been using NeoVim for like a year now, and I didn't know you could do that. Oh, and you can even go up to like, you can keep, oh, okay, this is cool. I had no idea. I'm such a noob. That's hilarious. Exiting NeoVim and re-entering to fix it. That's cool. I've been stuck here so many times. I just learned this too. Laugh my ass off. That's hilarious. I literally I've gotten to places where where all I do is just restart NeoVim because I don't know what I did or how to fix it. I feel like I just leveled up. There should be I should have some sort of audio effect that I play on stream when someone teaches me something. All right, let's also extract this to a separate file. And we can keep that at the top level. I think that's fine. Let's delete that. And we'll just keep that at the top level. It's fine. We should put this in a namespace. We should do the same thing with the options class. Yeah, totally. An evolution. Delete Sobanda. I am sick, in pain, and just woke up, but I saw you are live and rushed to my PC just to watch this. Well, that's super kind of you, but if you're sick and you're in pain, get rest, my friend. Or seek medical attention, whichever one is more appropriate. Tafiqan. Hi, what's your opinion on recent AI code leak? What was the recent AI code leak? Are you talking about Claude Code? Is that what you're talking about? The source map leak? Hmm. Twitch is better UI than YouTube Live, I think. Oh, that's good to know. I go back and forth. Sometimes I watch streams on Twitch. Sometimes I watch streams on YouTube. I go back and forth. I think Twitch does have more ads. I think the one thing that Twitch has up on YouTube is Twitch, I think, makes it a lot more fun for people to interact on stream. Like they have a lot of ways that a streamer can provide options to their audience to interact and engage, which I think is good. I like the channel point system. I think is really nice. Like the fact that I can basically say, here are different rewards or things people can do on stream, and they can just earn them just by like being an audience member, right? I think is really nice. I wish YouTube had a system like that. I think they're trying to with the whole XP thing, but they haven't put any tools in place where like you can make use of the XP, which is kind of silly. It's like, well, the XP should translate into something for the viewer. Hey. Emotes are very good too. Yeah, points have highlight
Exidium
messages.
3
Nice.
is reminding you to hydrate.
Or you can do that, or you can do text to speech. I mean, you can do pretty much, I think, do whatever rewards you want to provide. Thought someone said my name. Walrus Dev saw Neovim plus C# had to hop in and follow /sub on both platforms. Nice. I got your sub just because of my language and tech choice. I like it. Let's see, working on a React Native demo app for an upcoming interview. My God, I forgot how annoying the ecosystem is. Emulators, Apple license, Android Studio, npm 100,000 deps, 1 million deps. Makes me appreciate Go so much. I think I've not really done any native development, but I do have a lot of appreciation for building on the web and not having to deal with all the complexities that native applications have. I've never done much native application development, and I've never done much mobile application development, so that would be all new to me. All right. So the last thing we need to do here is this configure action. I think both my streams just disconnected. I think YouTube's back, and it looks like Twitch is still trying to come back. Alright, looks like Twitch is back. We're back! We're so back. Thompson, it's just phone apps. It's such an environment headache. Honestly, web is so much more plug and play. Yeah. We down? I think we were down, but we're back now. We're so back. We're not down anymore. Refresh the page. So the whole point of the CLI, right, is so people can interact, but they can use different. Let's just start with trying to conditionally register different keys. So what we actually want to do here is once you configure see, this is where things get a little weird, because actually what I want to do is I don't want to configure this. Huh. So I don't really want to register this, but I want to bind the configuration. Yeah. So actually what I want to do is I want to do this. I want to do var CLI options equals new secure config CLI options. And then what I want to do is I want to bind .bind to that options. That's what I want to do. And then I want to use those options to determine how I build this thing right here. So I want to be able to do something like for example, let's just say we have this. And let's say we have an option that's like, I guess we need to bring this whole thing down. Let's just comment that out for a second. Well, I guess I actually need to I don't know how this exactly is going to work. I guess I would honestly prefer not to capture the options in that closure, but it seems like I'm going to have to. So I'm going to have to do something like this where we do, so we have B, and we say something like if, like for example, if CLI options that up here, and then we're gonna say if CLI options dot use machine key, right? Then we would call b dot with machine ID key like this. So that's where these options are going to derive how we configure this action, which then will pass to this add secure config, which will change how how the registration is done. So that way we can use different key providers, we can use different storage providers, different I don't know how exactly I want to represent this in the options class, though. That's the part I'm kind of stuck on, honestly. I'm kind of lagged out here thinking about it. I guess what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to say something like public key provide, or let's start with the storage provider options, like that. And then in my app settings.json file, then I would need to define something called storage provider options. And then maybe I have to provide like provider name or provider type might be a better way to go about that. Because each type is going to have, like, for example, if this was a SQLite storage provider, well, then we want like a file path, right? Or if it was a Postgres, we'd want a connection string. So, like, depending on the provider type, the actual explicit options need to be different. There's like some polymorphism in this, and then we'd probably want to do something like that for the crypto provider options, and then we'd want something like key provider options, and we basically just want to recreate that so we have a I don't know, honestly, I'm just trying to figure this out as I go here. This doesn't exist yet. Public crypto provider options. But the whole intent of this being that then these options can drive how the registration is done in here. So if you give me a storage provider option of type JSON, then I can take that and call this on it. This one needs to always be added though, regardless of what the storage is. I don't know. I'm stalled now. I don't know what to do. I need to think about this more. How long have I been live for? An hour? 2 hours? Oh, I've been live for 2 hours. Nice. It's been a pretty good stream. Where's my... Did I accidentally close my... I did. Wow, we have 5 viewers on Twitch. Dang, we're killing it over there, man. Normally we have nobody on Twitch. Thank you for those of you who are holding it down over on Twitch. I appreciate you. Oh, we're only 5 away from 1,300 subscribers. All right, I guess I'm going to stream till we get to 1,300 subs. I I don't usually look at the numbers, but dang, we're so close. We're so close. And I'm only 6 followers away from here. I'm gonna make a plea. I've never made a plea before. Uh, help. Whoop. Steven Stirrup, AI hot takes, or post something on X, that'll bring him. Okay. I honestly I haven't been on X in a while. I kind of found that X caused me to have anxiety. Does anybody else that frequents X, do you have anxiety, or does it cause you to feel negatively? Because that was my experience. So I just stopped using it. It was all just very not good. Like every time I would scroll there, I would always leave just feeling worse than when I showed up. X, Twitter, X, it sucks. Yeah, X sucks. Okay, I'm not the only one. Yeah, I just stopped using it because yeah, I just don't think it was doing me any good things. I don't use it. Honestly, I've tried to really pull away from social media the last couple of years. Sadly, Instagram still has a stronghold on me. So it's funny you say that, Justin, because I told my wife the other day, I was like, I don't use Instagram anymore because it makes me feel bad about myself. About myself. Everybody looks so pretty and so handsome and so stylish, and their lives look so glamorous on Instagram, and mine is not any of those things. And I am not any of those things. I'm getting really tired of Reddit, but I can't seem to drop it. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Oh, I don't follow people. I follow food and hobby stuff. Yeah, okay. I could see it being used for that. Yeah, food. Instagram, the Instagram food thing. That might just make me even more overweight than I am. All right. So if I did do this, what would this look like? I wonder if I could just get away with. I mean, what if I just made this like stupid dead simple? Let's see. Um, internal sealed class crypto provider options. Do the same thing here. Is there any other config that needs to be done? I think that's it. Those are the only ones. So let's just do new, new. And let's say, let's see, use. See, this is where the polymorphicness comes in, because honestly, what would be nice is to be able to say, this is actually an abstract class, right? And it would be nice to be able to say internal sealed class of JSON storage provider options. I don't know if the options API support. Okay, yeah. So then we could default this to the JSON storage provider options like that. Why are you complaining? Cannot implicitly convert. Oh. And I guess this is where we could have a public string type, and we could switch on the type, couldn't we? Declare as nullable? No, it's not nullable. This, we're gonna basically say you have to give me a type. In which case, then the type would just be JSON. I don't know. Or we could do name of. Set the name to the same name as the type. We could do that. But the whole idea then is, I think we could then, I guess inside, I'm just talking out loud right now just to try to figure this out to make it make sense. I guess then my thought process is then we could actually do, I guess, a switch on CLI options dot storage provider dot type. And then this is a string, so then I could say case name of JSON storage provider options. And if it is, we just cast it, I guess, right? Or I guess if it is the JSON storage provider options, then we call whatever method. So this is where we would say something like, so this actually needs to happen. This actually needs to happen down here, I think. I don't know. That's going to tell me I can't capture it, but I sure as hell can. I'll just remove the static. In which case, then that's where we would say something like b.add or .use JSON file storage. And then we can configure it however we need to configure it, right? Why is that not working? Cannot control fall through from where, oh. So why are you complaining now? This call is ambiguous. Oh. Like that. And these options are essentially, right? And then we can just do this all the way down the chain. We can just say, I wish there was a way we could like, I wish there was a way we could type this, right? So instead of having to do like a cast, I wish there was a way we could do this where we say, if it is that options, then this is JSON storage provider options, like that. But I don't think that that works. I don't think you can bind. I don't honestly know. Let's ask Pi. Let's ask Pi if they know. Let's see. In C#, you oftentimes will bind configuration from your app settings file to strongly defined types in your actual application code. I'm curious though. Is it possible to bind JSON from app settings to polymorphic types and then type check the instance that you bound the settings to? Let's see. I don't even know if what I wrote there made sense, but I'm a 20 junior developer about to break into tech and generate 2K euro a month. Nice. Do you think it's a good idea to move into a house with my girlfriend? This is a good financial move. She will also earn money. I think so. This is my hot take. I think it's beneficial to play house with your significant other before you move any further with them. So I think if it was me, I would think yes, it's okay to move in with your girlfriend. I think sharing the cost of living is also nice. I think the one thing you have to be mindful of the fact when you move in with somebody though is just the fact that like things can happen. I'm not saying bad things should happen. I'm just saying things can happen. And so if your name is on the lease and your relationship comes to an end, can you support the lease by yourself? Right? That would be from a financial perspective, that would be my biggest concern, right? So like if you and your girlfriend did break up, would you be able to carry on all the expenses without going broke? Because you would hate to be in a situation where you have to start going into debt to cover all of the expenses because y'all split and she moved out or vice versa. But me and my wife, we moved in together the fall or the spring of my freshman year in college, and we've lived together since then. It worked well for us, you know. I know it doesn't work out well for everybody though, so n equals 1 there. That's a study of n equals 1. Dude, I have no idea what's taking Gemini so long to answer. I don't really need you to read any of this code. I just want you to... My experience with using Gemini inside coding harnesses has been pretty poor so far. Okay, to achieve this, you typically need to use a custom JSON converter and bind the configuration section manually, or use the options pattern with a bit of a twist. So the standard configuration.get section won't respect those attributes because it uses its own reflection-based binder. To get around this, you should bind the section to a JSON string or a JSON element first, then deserialize it. Huh. That seems like a lot of work. Alright, you got my answer. You let me down, Pi. You let me down. Did you tell them to make no mistakes? No, I forgot that one. Selling the house could be an option too there, but it's a risk, of course. Yeah, that's the part that just always, with relationships is hard because you never go into those situations thinking that bad things are going to happen. but then the economic consequences of bad things happening are very real. Um, and so I would hate for anybody to end up in that situation. Luckily, I have yet to, or hopefully never will, but I do think it's, if I was talking to one of my sons and they were 20 years old and they were thinking about, moving out with their girlfriend or whatever, I would be like, yeah, I think I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I would actually encourage most people to try living with your significant other before you move any further into that relationship. Um, but I think that you have to be mindful of like, okay, that's kind of the way I think about most things in life. If everything goes to zero, can you still survive, right? So like in that circumstance, I guess the worst thing, right? The worst consequence is like the thing ends, y'all split, someone has to move out. Whoever's left holding the bag, can they support it without having to completely disrupt their life? I got into tech right after graduation with good salary and stuff. So I married my girlfriend and moved in. Then 16 months later, my whole team was laid off. It's been 3 months, still looking. Well, I'm rooting for you, Real Mutt. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's really shitty. Um, and I'm sorry that you've gone this long without finding something. But I'm rooting for you. I hope you find something, man. Losing your job is always a scary event. I've only been laid off once in my life, and lucky for me, it was at a point in time where I was working multiple jobs. So it wasn't like all my income was gone, but it was a sizable portion of it, and it was very
Did we just
stressful.
become best friends?
Loag, thank you for the follow on Twitch, man. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. All right, I think what I'm going to do here. I think what I'm going to do here is I think I'm going to do that. And then if that is the case, I'm going to cast it. So we'll do name of, and we'll just see how this feels for a little while. So let's do, if it is that type, we'll do a cast here, and we'll say var storage options equals, do CLI options dot, like that. We'll just do a cast, and then the idea here would be we can set the file name, and we can also set the directory path if you need to, if you're using something that's not standard. So you would say storage options dot file name and storage options dot directory path, like this. Those don't exist, obviously, so let's go define those. So let's do public string directory path, so getter and an emitter. And these are just going to mirror, I'm actually going to mirror them after what the library does. So I'm just going to set this to app context dot base directory. 9 times out of 10, that's not going to be right though. And then we'll set this to secure config, like that. Then we'll just do the same thing for all these. So we'll turn these into abstract classes, and we'll just have concrete types that represent each option with the appropriate option values. So the default here will be, which means this should work. Basically, the nice thing about this is somebody doesn't set any configuration, then we'll just kind of use the default, right, setup. So this will be crypto, but it's also extensible. So if in the future we add other providers of other different types, we can very easily extend this to be configurable from the outside to support those. So then we'll do new AES, and then we'll do new, I guess here we'll have two kinds. We'll have machine ID key provider options, and then we're also going to have a static. So we'll do internal sealed class, and this is going to be crypto AES crypto provider options, and that inherits from crypto. And all of these are just going to follow this type. Like that. I don't know. So part of this feels like not the right pattern, but I think it'll work. And then we have to provide our base. So we'll just say name of AES like that. And then we'll have an internal sealed class machine ID key provider options, which is going to be key provider options. Yeah. Cool. Why did I not spell it right? Crit. Oh, I didn't spell it right. God dang it. And then I guess I didn't spell this one right either. Machine ID key. So then back here, we can basically follow the same kind of pattern, but for the other providers. So we'll do, instead of storage provider, this will be our crypto provider. And then instead of switch, paste this again here. Wait, Steven, you're using C# convex for this? No, nope. I wish I was. Yeah, I wish I had some C# convex in my life, but no C# convex right now. I love me some convex. I just haven't had a good reason to use it. I haven't had any good project ideas for it. And this is going to be, instead of crypto, this will be key. So let's actually do this. Let's make the defaults the same, and then let's make the default here the same. So this is going to be JSON storage provider options, but this is not the storage provider, this is the crypto provider. So this is just going to be, the default is going to be AES. And then instead of casting this here, we do, actually we don't even need to cast this actually. What we need to do is we just need to call the method. So that's where we say b dot use this crypto provider like that. And then down here, we do name of machine key provider, that. And then again, the only thing we need to do here is we just have to call dot with machine key ID. And so this is, I guess, where the extensibility kind of shows, or the idea for my extensibility comes in, is then I want to have something that's like a static key provider options. And then in this case, it's going to be with base 64 encryption key. And again, we're going to have some options. So this will be key options equals static key provider options. Actually, let's rename this. Let's say base 64. Base 64, like that. Because this expects a key, so then our key options dot key, right? Now we need to go make all that a reality. So let's copy that. Let's head over to the options class. And so this will be very similar here. Only we're going to rename this to be let's see, base 64 key provider options. And then we can provide a public property called key. Init that, and we'll just do string.empty. Now that's going to be an issue if you actually do that. It'll actually fail. But CLI options.key provider options will cast it. Now why are you still complaining? Because there's not a break. Yeah, so I think that's all in an effort to allow you to configure how we register the library from the outside of the application using an app settings file, depending on how you're using the library in your production application. So this CLI is like a sidecar. So like if you have a minimal API that's using this library to encrypt a client ID and a client secret, and you need to go and update that client ID and client secret for some reason, you can pull this CLI down, stick it somewhere on your machine, configure it so that it can read and write to the existing encrypted settings file for your API, but do it from the CLI instead of having to implement code in the API to do that. Obviously, you could do that. You could implement code to do that in your actual application. This is just kind of an administrative tool to make life easier. So this will be the default. This will be our default storage. I think that's good. I probably can abstract this out too. I probably need to put this logic somewhere other than just right here in the middle of the host. Let's see if it actually works. So let's go ahead and run some of those commands that we had earlier. So this should return nothing. Hopefully this doesn't blow up. Oh god, it blew up. Let's see, cannot create instance of type storage because it's missing a public instance constructor. Oh. Okay. We broke it. Well, shit. Okay, so you're saying it's basically saying that in order to do this, we have to have a public Does it need to have a public one, or can we do... Let's see, extension, property, crypto on type, extensions is not supported. Cannot create instance of type, instance constructor. Is not, what does that mean, not supported? 1101. Type is not supported. Property on type is not supported. It should be supported. You can use complex types in that way. I think it's the fact that there's not a public constructor. So let's add one. Huh. Well, I guess that kind of... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm just going to keep going down this path, but I feel very conflicted about my choices at the moment. I don't know why, but who cares if it's protected or not? It's abstract. Nobody can use it anyways. Crap. Hey, Lorenz Boss. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I haven't been very communicative lately in the chat, so I apologize. I kind of been locked in here today. The caffeine's really doing its job this afternoon. Alright, let's see if this fixes it. I think this is going to fix it. Famous last words. I think it's going to fix it, though. I do. I believe. Alright, let's try again. Fuck! Because it's missing a public instance constructor. But it has one. It has one, right? Char. Property storage provider options on type. Is it because it's an abstract class, maybe? Is that why? That's probably why. Right? That would make sense. I'm surprised this works with AOT apps. I'm surprised that you can do this to begin with, the whole configuration.bind. I am publishing this as AOT, right? Yeah, I have the AOT set to true. So I'm just surprised. I'm surprised that works. I would assume that relies on some sort of reflection or something, but apparently not. Where was I? I was in here. So I guess let's remove the abstract and see if that I mean, I guess it's really okay if someone wants to new up a version of those. It's actually okay. They're all internal anyways. Dude, I'm gonna be really bummed if this doesn't work. There we go. That worked. What about the last exit code? Was that set properly? Yeah. Cool. So that does work. Now let's try to actually do something with it. So let's try to get what did I think I set a value, didn't I? Set key. So let's try to get key. Hopefully this works. Nope. Unable to retrieve value for key. So what do I have in here? I have a test and I have a key. So why weren't we able to retrieve key? So that's a big red flag. We should be able to retrieve key. And what about test? Can we retrieve test? All right, so I broke something because none of these are working. So let's try one more time. Let's try setting something and then getting it. Setting this one. So it did set that. So now let's try to get it. Oops. I didn't mean to pass all that extra stuff. All right, so that works. So why? I wonder. That makes me concerned that something about the it makes me concerned that I broke something about. I don't know. Let's see. Why are you complaining? Typer namespace cannot be found. Are you missing? No, they're there. I wonder if maybe I'm not actually accessing things the way I think I am. Maybe there's another configuration file there. Secure config. Oh, there is. Yeah. So, did I not? What did I do? I must have not, in the options, I must have not given. Yeah, see, I should have put that as the default. So now I think it'll work. If I do get key, it should work. Yeah, cool. So it was just looking at the wrong file, but all the decryption and encryption stuff was still working. I'm still using the same machine ID key. Now let's try to test configuring it to behave differently. So let's say instead of the machine ID key, let's say that we do want to use some sort of base 64. Excuse me. Let's see, base 64 string. So let's say we are going to do that. And so what we're going to do is in our app settings, we're not going to set any of these guys. We're going to say type is base 64 key provider. And then we'll say key is equal to some random base 64 string, which means then whenever the app loads, what it should see is it should see, oh, you want to use a base 64 key provider options, and so then we should configure it that way instead of with the machine key. I don't know if this is like, I don't know. I don't honestly know if this is like a good approach, but I think this is going to be how I do it for the first. Not 191x7. Thanks for the follow. All these usernames with all these numbers and letters. And does anybody have a username that's just like me and Justin's, like, or Loren's, just normal? I really got into game dev. It lets me combine my two biggest hobbies, music and coding. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I could totally see that. I have not gotten into game dev. I have a coworker who's really into game dev. Bob does have a normal username, and it is lovely to speak to Bob because I can just say Bob. Let's see. So we'll do .NET. So this time, if I try to retrieve key, it should not work. Okay, it works. Why does it work? It shouldn't work. It shouldn't be able to decrypt the value. So why can't it decrypt the
Welcome
value?
to the party, pal.
Hey, thanks for becoming a sub. That's super, super nice of you, man. Thank you very much. That's unbelievably generous and kind of you. We are cool, TM. You wouldn't get it, man. I honestly though, I will admit that is the case. I wouldn't get it. Like I admit that. I don't understand because I'm not cool. I'm a dad on the internet now. I'm not cool. It's Thobison. I want the full width view. Oh, what's up, Thobison? Thank you for becoming a sub on Twitch. That's super kind. You definitely don't need to be a sub and a member. Like, you can just pick one. You know, I mean, a member on YouTube and a sub on Twitch. You don't have to do both those things. You don't even have to do one of those things. So, that's very kind of you. You can say Dalitso, but I have a pretty common name in my country, so I'm number 7658. Okay, Dalitso. I think I'm saying that right. Let's see, how does SpeakerBot say it? Dads are cool. I appreciate that sentiment.
Dalitso.
Dalitso? Okay, cool. Dalitso. I'm saying it right. Dads are old. Dads are old. How you doing, Craig? Good to see you. Yeah, dads are old. Dads are old and uncool. I'm good. I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good. Just enjoying my Saturday here, playing with I call this playing with my adult Legos now because I guess if you hand code like this, you're not a real developer nowadays. You have to actually use AI to code to be a real developer. Okay, I can't figure out why that's not working. So this should work. I guess it's not, must not be binding the options the way I think it should. Key provider options. Do I have that set right? Key provider options, base 64 key provider option. Yep. Key. I guess we could do some printf debugging. Let's just see if we even get here. Yo, boy. That means I'm playing with my adult Legos too then? Yeah, dude, AI is like completely, it's ruined it. Yeah, all right, so we're not hitting that. We're not hitting that code. We must be hitting this then. I don't even know if that will print to the screen. Yeah, okay, it will. So then why is that happening? So machine ID key provider options. I wonder if it's because it's defaulting. Oh, I know why. I know why. I figured it out. So this actually all needs to be under a key itself. So this actually needs to be in a key called secure config CLI options. And then inside that needs to be this guy. So now I think it'll work. Now we'll get yo boy. Nope. Secure config CLI options. Get section name of. Am I getting the sections? That is named right. App settings.json. Yep, that's right. So I wonder what do we have going on here? I wonder if this just won't work the way I think I want it to work. We are defaulting these, you know. I mean, we are defaulting them. I wonder. But I feel like this shouldn't be bound. Let's do this. We're gonna lie. Oh. Let's try again now. NeoVim is insane. Goddamn. I don't know. I think NeoVim's fun. I mean, it's definitely a side quest. It's definitely one of those things where you have to fully be willing to give up productivity and time to do it. You know what I mean? Because yeah, it's its own little rabbit hole. But it is fun. I mean, if you have the time and the motivation or the interest, I guess not necessarily motivation, but the interest, it is fun to fuck around with. I don't understand how people can enjoy using AI to code. At most, I can use Gemini to help me find solutions, which oftentimes fails. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I like interacting with AI as like a rubber duck and to answer questions and to ideate with, but I still kind of like knowing what the hell I've built and how I built it. Which I guess there are definitely going to be people in the AI world that are going to say that's what I do. I just use AI tools to do it, which I can't really, I guess, refute that. You know what I mean? And honestly, that's okay. Like I'm okay with people who I'm okay with people who want to use AI, and I'm okay with people who don't want to use AI. The people I take an issue with are those who tell me that I'm somehow now useless because I do not use AI. That's, I guess, the stuff I take an issue with. All right, this does not seem to be working. I wonder if this is even being loaded. App settings.json, program.cs. So we are loading it, because if we weren't loading it, this would throw because we have optional set to false. So this would throw if app settings wasn't there. Let's do a double check just to make sure the app settings file is what we think it is. Yep. So I wonder if binding doesn't work in AOT. Let's see. C#. configuration bind in AOT app. Does that work? Enable configuration binding generator. Okay. Okay, let's see if this makes it work. I think it's going to throw a null reference still. Go back to here and undo what we did. Set these back to the, set those back there. Try again. Galito, ask them to fix a bug without AI. That is the real test to see if they know what they are doing. Yeah, I don't know. The pushback I've gotten, Delito, from people is people tell me that it doesn't matter anymore because you're always going to have access to AI. So if you're dependent on AI to get your work done, that's okay. I'm not sure I accept that, but I'm not sure I have a good way to refute it either, you know? Brainstorming with AI is fun. It is fun, yeah, I agree with that. Using AI to rubber duck is good. Sublime text is king. I've never used Sublime Text, but I've heard people speak very fondly of that editor. Never used it, but I've heard people speak especially people who Mac users. I think AI is a tool, but it shouldn't replace the person. I agree with that. I feel you there, Justin. That is the calculator argument. It is the calculator argument. Yeah. Yes, we will always have access to AI tools, but people should know the fundamentals regardless. That's how I feel. I feel that same way, but I'm not sure I just don't have a good argument to convince them otherwise. So I kind of am just left in this spot where it's like, all right, bro, if you just want to be dependent on Cursor, so be it. But that's just not how I want to live my life. Which would be fine if it just seems like the people that are in that camp are just so vocal and so pushy about everything. Like, why is it so important that because they want to use AI, everyone else has to? It feels almost like evangelicalism. that's how it feels. Like it's like I'm okay if you want to live your life that way. Just stop trying to shove it down everyone else's throat or scare everyone else. You know. All right, I think I'm gonna have to get the debugger out because I don't understand. I don't understand why this isn't working. In Claude we trust. That is a t-shirt right there. Justin, techno worship? Yes, exactly, techno worship. Ask them why we should teach Algebra 1. Yeah, or pre-calc. Yeah, why should we teach any of that stuff? Why should anybody read books anymore, right? If that argument is sound, there's really no reason for any of it. You can just look everything up, right? Anytime anybody asks you a question, you just open your phone and type, Gemini, what do I say to this? How do I answer this question, ChatGPT? Yeah, I don't know. That just seems like a dystopian world to me. Not the world I want to live in, but to each his own. In Claude we trust. That needs to be on a t-shirt. All right, I'm gonna try to see what's actually getting loaded here. So let's see this, and then I actually don't think I have any configurations for debugging set up. Will this just work? I actually don't know if this will just work. I'll do this one. Huh, I guess it just works now. You don't even have to have a launch setting, a launch.json file or anything. It just knows how. That's pretty cool. I haven't used VS Code in a while, so I'm always used to using. All right, so here's our configuration. So let's take a look in here and see if we can find our app settings. This is one thing Visual Studio has over Visual Studio, or has over VS Code, is Visual Studio makes doing this kind of thing a lot easier. Like Visual Studio has that like collection explorer view that's really nice. All right, so here I see some configuration sections that are for my app. So I do see, look, you can see their value equals base 64 provider options. Okay, and then if let's open this one up. That's the key provider options type. There should be a key provider options key. There's the value. Okay, but there's another one too. Key provider options path value is null. Oh, okay, so that's interesting. So it looks like the base type is actually what's getting registered. That's super interesting. Okay, so I guess maybe what I'm trying to do is not something you can do. Because see, now this is just set to the default values. So nothing actually got bound. And I'm guessing nothing actually got bound because the types don't line up or something. All right, I guess it's going to be back to the drawing board on how we accomplish this polymorphic I'm really trying to avoid this is what I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to avoid and maybe avoiding this is just causing more headaches than what it's worth, but what I'm trying to avoid is having to have a type here that's like base 64 key provider options. I'm trying to avoid this. But maybe it's not worth avoiding it. I think this is a place where I naturally need to step away and think about how I want to do this. Maybe do a little bit of research about how other people might do this in other situations. Because to make this work, then I would have to do, instead of inheriting like that, we would basically say key provider options can have a public base 64 key provider options, which can be populated or cannot be populated. And then we would have to check. This is the reason I didn't want to do this, is because then now we have a null check. We have to check every. Right, we'd have something like this, which is kind of annoying because then, right, how do you decide who wins? What if both are configured for the app, right? This doesn't make sense. It's kind of silly to have both of these things configured at the same time. And then how would you pick which one is the right one? Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just making shit up now. Over the past few weeks, I've noticed in my free time, I'm actually leaving games mid-game to code now. I don't even get the dopamine hit from coding. It's just much nicer to think sometimes. Yeah, I feel you there, man. Dopamine, the dopamine you get from coding is like, especially when you figure something out, like something that you've been stuck on for a little while. So nice. Let the dopamine flow. Did you hear about Copilot inserting ads into pull requests on GitHub? No, I did not. Is that a real thing? Hold on. I haven't heard about this. Also, good afternoon, Ryan. Good to see you, man. Thanks for being a member. Copilot inserts ads. Copilot edited an ad into my PR. Oh, this is on Hacker News. After a team member summoned Copilot to correct a typo in a PR of mine, Copilot edited my PR description to include an ad for itself and Raycast. Quickly spin up Copilot coding agent tasks from anywhere on your Mac OS or Windows machine with Raycast. This is horrific. I knew this kind of bullshit would happen eventually, but I didn't expect it so soon. That is pretty shitty. Was this so? Is this really? Did GitHub acknowledge this is like an intentional thing, or is this? Was this just like a model misbehaving? Oh, this is 5 days ago. So this wasn't an intentional thing. They're tips. They're not ads. They're tips. Microsoft has done a 180, following backlash from developers. GitHub has removed Copilot's ability to stick ads, what it calls tips, into any pull request that invokes its tip. That's hilarious. It was an accident that happened over 14,000 times. Yeah, it sounds like they tried to slide one in there on people, doesn't it? Dude, that's fucking crazy. How has nobody made? I can't believe the Primogen hasn't made a video about this. I figured somebody would have made a video about it. That's crazy. But no, take a look around GitHub and you'll see more than 11,400 PRs with the same tip in them, all seemingly added by Copilot. Mason told us that he's not surprised to see GitHub doing this with an AI model, but he says it's pretty offensive to see Raycast ad inserted by Copilot into its own PR. It was only Monday morning when Microsoft watchers at NeoWind picked up Mason's report that Copilot was injecting what developers saw as ads into PRs, and by the afternoon, GitHub had decided a recent change to Copilot may have gone a bit too far. GitHub VP of Developer Relations Martin Woodward explained in a post on X later in the day Monday that Copilot inserting ads into PRs isn't actually a new behavior. It's been doing so in the ones it creates for a while. Letting Copilot touch PRs didn't create, but is mentioned in, on the other hand, is new behavior that hasn't really worked out. Let's see. Principal product manager for Copilot at GitHub took to Hacker News on Monday to say that giving Copilot the ability to add tips to PRs was intended to help developers learn new ways to use the agent in their workflow. Huh. It's interesting because it almost feels like it was an experiment, doesn't it? It almost feels like they were like testing the waters. Like, let's see if anyone notices, and let's see if anybody likes it or hates it. It's like they soft launched it, right? That's kind of what it feels like. It does feel icky, man. Ads in. They really said just the tip. Didn't Anthropic did an ad about this? Oh, I didn't know that. Anthropic did do an ad about ChatGPT's ads, but I haven't seen them say anything about Copilot having ads. I had a niche use case and idea for a Docker monitoring solution, took the opportunity to actually test out Claude Code and have it write pretty much all the code. I did the architecture, iterated, and reviewed plans thoroughly, and the result was honestly good. The loss of deep knowledge of the code base isn't worth it, though, in my honest opinion. Yeah, this is 19191. That's my experience, and that's why I think whenever I talk about AI on my channel or in my content, I don't really talk too much about like AI being incapable, because I think we're at a point where if you know what you're doing from a coding perspective, you can definitely prompt and direct the agent to a good outcome. I think it's more of a question of, do you enjoy working that way? And then two, are you okay with the side effects of working that way? Which you pointed out one good one, which is you just lose intimate knowledge of how everything is wired together, right? Um, there's also some side effects, I think, there in terms of like your own learning and your own growth. I think there's also a side effect that over time, probably some of your skills do kind of atrophy to some extent. Um, but yeah, that's where I'm at as well with it. I actually I uninstalled Gemini CLI, the Copilot CLI, and Claude Code. I took all the agents off except this Pi agent that I learned about. That's like a very minimalistic coding agent. And I just hooked it up to Gemini CLI. And I've purely been using it more to just ask questions in a context-aware environment. I don't think Gemini CLI is. I don't think Gemini is probably the best model, honestly, for doing this kind of work, but it's been working well enough for what I use it for. Man, that's crazy about Copilot. That is a very. I have no interest in a world where AI is trying to push us to buy things or purchase things. That does not sound fun. I'll be very interested. I've been following the Primogen streams the last few times he streams, and he's been working on this. It's almost like a statistical data analysis tool to figure out if models are biased towards certain things. And I'll be very interested to see what he comes up with in terms of data, what he finds. I wrote a minimal CLI in C# based off of it uses LM Studio instead of Anthropic though. Oh, let me check it out. How to code Claude Code in 200 lines of code. Oh, nice. Read files, list files, edit files. Yeah. So that's basically the idea behind this Pi agent. Is just a very minimalistic tool like that. Works well with Quinn 3.5, Coder 9B. Where do you get the Quinn 3.5 Coder? Do you is that running in the cloud, or who have you been using that through? Because I do like that model. I've been using Quinn 3.6 LM Studio. Okay. So LM Studio has like a cloud offering. Oh, we have an NVIDIA Spark. Ah, damn. You have one or work has one, Justin? That's pretty baller if you have one at your house, because I would like to get one. You run it locally on your smart. That's killer, dude. I would love to get one of those. I'm jealous now. I'm jealous of your setup. I would like to do that. I just need to find $4,000. I can run it on a 4060. I do not have a 4060. I think the only GPU that I have in my house that probably could run any of those models is I have a 3080 and a laptop that maybe could run some of those models. I don't know how fast it could run them, but probably not super well. See you, Delito. Thanks for hanging out, man. See you, dude. Get some rest. Hope you heal up. Justin, come join the team, bro. So I heard you guys have a Spark that I could use. So, is that included with the benefits? Is that part of your benefits package? Yeah, that's pretty baller. They bought it for me. That's pretty cool. That means you got a good employer, man. I've been in the basement streaming. My wife just sent me a text and asked where I was. All right. Well, I think I've come to my limit on the coding, at least for this session. I need to go do some research. I need to think about this, how else I want to do this. Maybe there's some way I can make this work that I'm not aware of. I'm sure some smart person has wrote a blog post about it. I just need to go find it. I'm wrapping up. Lauren's Ask AI. I did ask AI, and AI gave me not very good answers. I asked Gemini, and Gemini gave me not very good answers. One of which I did try, and it did not work. All right, folks. This was fun. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I think I'm going to wrap up the afternoon. I should be back hopefully in the morning. Hopefully I can get my butt out of bed and I'll be back to my normal streaming schedule. If you're around, would love to see you. If not, no big deal. Totally get it. It's very early in the morning. Yeah, it's Easter tomorrow. Yeah. Happy Easter. See you, Justin. See you, Lorenz. See you, 19. Thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate you. Good to see you. Thanks for being a sub over there on Twitch. Appreciate you holding it down for us. Bob, thanks for hanging out. As always, man, I really appreciate the fact that you've stuck around and kept visiting and coming back to my streams. It's very kind of you to do that. All right. If you're new here and you want to come back in the future, I'll drop my schedule there in the chat just for reference. And then I'll also drop the Discord link in case you want to hang out outside the stream. Super easy to remember. It's just discord.stephenfreeborn.com. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye. You guys have a good day. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. Bye, all.